What is up, everyone? Welcome in, welcome in. You know who I've got with me. It's my friend, my main man, Andre from Edgeful. And every so often, I love just getting on talking to Andre no matter what. You know, we talk on spaces a lot. We talk about trading in the DMs a lot. But from time to time, Edgeful's got these new features that come out. We got to jump on here and talk about them a little bit. I want to learn about them. I know a lot of my followers and people have been checking them out and seeing them. I open up Edgeful and I see a new banner across the top about some algos going live. This new score thing that you actually told me about it. It popped up and I was looking at it yesterday and today as well. So some people on the stream this morning saw it. But Andre, how are you? And what's going on?
I'm good, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man. It's like one of my favorite conversations to have is with you. So it's always good. And I'm excited to cover these things. I know that like our minds kind of work the same way when we think about like trading and these like all the data in general. So it's always good to talk to you about it and like cover these things with you, because you always ask the questions that like make the most sense to me, which is nice. But yeah, dude, we're trying to push these new features like all the time, making sure that we're like getting the feedback from people, understanding like what they like, what they don't like. Like one of the other things that we're working on now, which I mean, we'll get to that, but I want people to be able to bookmark their sub reports, and I'll share my screen for a second just so I can pull this up so like people can understand what I'm saying. But like this right over here is a brand new addition. We released this yesterday, and pretty much what this does, what the Edgeful screener does, is it filters through. I'll make this bigger, I think. Does that look better to you?
Yeah, you may even close out that the right side. That's what I've been doing on the stream. Yeah, there you go. Make it there. Perfect.
Okay. So pretty much like the screener is live data fed through the reports. So right now, the way that I set my screener up is I always have it set to all, which allows me to put stocks and futures into the screener. And then I have the highest weighted stocks in the S&P and the NASDAQ. So I know it's something that you do always. You always talk about Broadcom and Costco, some of the higher weighted in the Costco's not in the NASDAQ.
In the NASDAQ, Costco is a top 10 holding. A lot of people don't know that. People are starting to catch on to Broadcom. Broadcom's actually number 6, but Costco is a top 10 holding of the NASDAQ by weighting. So like I always include this. If Costco is super weak or strong, like it's affecting the entire industry.
Yeah, I had forgotten if it was. I know I have it on here actually because of you, but and Broadcom too, but I wasn't sure if it was in the S&P or the NASDAQ, but yeah, it's in the NASDAQ, which is kind of shocking, right? Like the NASDAQ tech, but whatever. I put the heaviest weighted stocks in the NASDAQ because I like to trade the indices. I like to trade the ES and the NQ. Pretty much that's it. So for anyone who trades options on the SPY or SPX or QQQ options, or they trade ES or NQ or MES or MNQ, you want to be looking at what moves them, right? These are indices. They're made up of a basket of stocks, and those stocks, the heaviest weighted ones, are these ones right here. So if you know what these are doing, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what the indices are doing too. So what this screener does is it gives you a data-backed bias every single day. So right here, the one that I like to have is the daily bias template right over here. So on the left sidebar, number 3 is the daily bias. What that does is it automatically puts in these 4 reports into your the screeners. So there's 4 screeners right here, and it's the opening candle continuation, the IB buy rejection, and previous day's range. So if we look, 64% right now of all of the stocks going through all the reports are bullish bias right now. 14% of them are neutral, and then 22% of them are bearish. So today, overall bias, what the data is showing is it should be more bullish than bearish. Now, if we go through opening candle continuation, this is like honestly one of the most like no-brainer reports that you should look at like every single day. I know that It honestly has become one of the most popular because it's so simple. And I'll quickly just touch on like what this is. So we have the indicator for it. You can see this red box. Let me just hide this for a second. This red box, opening candle continuation. What is it? It is the color of the first hour. So from the open of 9:30 to 10:30, if that's red, which this will show you, the bias is most likely going to be bearish. If it's green, which this is what it'll look like on your charts, with the indicator, this is a green opening candle. Then you can see that your bias should be bearish on the day. This is a super simple report, completely no-brainer. There's like really not much to think about, but it's going to give you a very strong bias for the day. And then these other ones, IB standard. I'm assuming anyone who follows AMP knows what the IB is. IB by rejection, though.
If you don't, unfollow me at this point. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That first hour of the market is like bread and butter. It's just so strong.
Yeah. And we have an indicator for it too. So you can see, I'll take the other ones off. You can see that right here, the high and the low of the first hour plotted for me every single day. So I'll look at this day here and you can see the initial bounce is the high and low right here. Price will typically break out to one side of that IB. So once it breaks that side, there is your bias for the day. Now, this is one that I think is actually one of the most slept on reports that you actually use all the time. And it's the IB by
every day.
Every day.
And that one paid me literally today on RTY. While everything else was looking bullish, but we we already broke the highs and some stuff. Like, I don't want to go in the full breakdown. You can watch the stream from this morning. But RTY had this exact setup this morning. And we had kind of the catalyst of it had been running like crazy and then hot PPI. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to short small caps. And I look and I see IB by rejection. I think it was 77% or something. And I'm like, oof. And it paid. It was nice.
You know, it was actually a report request. So for anyone who doesn't know, at Q4 of this year, we're building Edgeful AI. Edgeful AI, you'll be able to ask any question pretty much. Like imagine you're talking to like a PhD level quant, and then it will be able to give you the answers to your questions. So if you ever want to know, like for every time the first fair value gap in the market open in the London session, how often is that one? Whatever it is, literally like anything you could think of, as long as it's objective and there's no like subjectivity in it, it will be able to answer. But it was actually a report request, which is what we do currently, where if we don't have a report that you want, you can submit a ticket and like we'll build that report for you. And when the request came through, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be a good idea. Like, whatever, let's just try it. And dude, the data was so strong on it. I was like, whoa, like this is super shocking that it's actually like working out the way that the user has intended, which is like, honestly, there's stuff that we've built that I would personally never use, but this is a super, super valuable one. Pretty much what this does is it checks the order in which the IB was formed. So I'm going to go to the report quickly. I'm just going to go to the report.
You can pull up RTY or IWM for today. It was a beautiful example of this.
By rejection. Okay. So right over here. So
yeah, there it is, 77%. I still had it in my brain from this morning. That's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how, like, also it's so funny because like eventually you, like every month, the stats overall will start to shift, right? They'll trend in a certain direction, whether it's up or down, but like you'll know when you use it yesterday, you use it today, you'll like start to like memorize it because you're like, this is the one that I use. This is like an important number. I need to know what this is.
Yeah, but in 3 weeks I've seen it like change. So like it's important to like go in and check. I go in and check it every single day because it'll change. I'm like, oh, I thought this was like an 80-something%. It was like down to 65 or 67 on one. I was like, okay, not as strong as it was before.
Yeah, and pretty much like what this does is so there's two sections here, left and right. This is the high of the IB forms first. This is over here, the low of the IB forms first. So pretty much you can see when you're looking like left to right, so in terms of the time, on this specific day, this is on NQ, but on this day, the high had formed before the low of the IB. Now, I'll switch to NQ for a second. I mean, this is a fine example too. is that for every time that the high had formed first, the low will break 77% of the time. This is on RTY specifically, but the chart that I was looking at was on MQ. The point is, it doesn't matter. If the high forms first and price does one of these, right? Let's just say it does one of these. Right over here, this is where you start to build your short bias for a break to the downside. That's the intention of this trade, right? If there's a bounce, you want to take this move down because the high had formed first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly how I explained it too. I mean, we had the exact same thing in Q and ES today. Had the exact same report. I actually took the long first on those, and that right exact same thing that happened today. The first hour, the low formed first, the high formed second, and we took the highs. As soon as we took the highs, I got out, and look at the trade completely failed and went straight back down. But it played out first, and I mean, I got my win, got out of the trade, it played out, and boom, there's your big reversal.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a short, so like the other side of that, Andre, if I'm looking to short the market and I see that stat, I'm like, okay, well, I need this to go at least wick and break the high first before I want to short.
Yeah. It's, I feel like sometimes our users will say, well, how do I use this? Or like, tell me exactly what I need to do. And I wish that I could say, here's exactly how to use this. But the problem is that there are so many different ways to use it. Like exactly what you're saying. Like if you want to go, like this is a long bias, right? It's a low form, this one over here is a short bias. This one over here is a long bias. Like today, the bias is very obviously long, specifically on NQ here, because the low had formed first, the high formed second. That's a long bias. Because on NQ, the stats are whatever they are to where the high is going to break first. But if you want to take a short, you need to wait. This gives you like the confirmation to wait for the breakout. And then you can take the short if you have this other confluence or other bias that's going to tell you that price is going to come down. But you know that X% of the time, like 70-something% of the time, this has to touch before you even get in the trade. So I wish that there was a way that we could explain it in a way where we're like, this is what to do, but there's not.
Yeah, well, but because there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Like KB right here. KB he actually took the short. He was on my stream this morning in the comments, and he jumped in the short after it played out, and I actually jumped in after him. He got a better entry than I did, and I also, it's funny, I started to short on the way up. And because I was like, okay, I have a level here, but I looked at the gap fill stats and I immediately got out. I took like a little 20-point loss, I think, but I got out because I was like, wait a second. Like it was back testing previous day lows, but there was a gap fill and it was a high probability. And I said, okay, hold on, chat. We're waiting. I want this gap to fill, and then I could try to take a short. And I scalped a short, and then got out of it. And then I saw the IB stat, and I actually played ES long because ES had the IB stat and the gap fill. So I had two layers of confluence on ES. I got into ES, and I took the long. It ran up to the gap fill. I got out of that, and then I ended up getting trade. It was so clean.
Dude, this is clean. It was so clean. This happens.
And the exit was perfect too. Like if you have your gap fill turned on and the IB, like both of those two together, strong statistics. I was in a nice ES long, and that played out. I got out of it, and then of course, like you said, the market rolled over. I jumped into with KB. I jumped into his short on NQ we were looking at, and then I got in the RTY because RTY still had that first hour bearish. Once we got the first hour breakout, it was so interesting. See how that stayed? It stayed there, and I was like, okay, market starting to roll over. We had the first hour, market starting to roll over. The IB high formed first in the first candle, the low formed second. This is the weaker indice. And we had some confluence with what was going on with rates. Got in right in that area, literally right on that candle. There was a 15-minute candle that looked just absolutely disgusting. And I took it down to previous day's low. It was a beautiful, we had on the stream this morning, we absolutely crushed it. KB made a ton of money. I think he walked away, probably went and got some donuts or something and came back. But I made, it was like three just absolute banging trades, maybe four across three different tickers. And then I haven't touched it since because I don't need to.
Good.
Like I had high probability data, like high probability setups.
Yeah.
They all played out so perfectly and smoothly. And then now look, we're just chopping in the middle of the range for the rest of the day at this
Yep.
point. I mean, that RTY made its way back. But if you look at NQ and ES, both are just in a box today. Like, I mean, it's completely in a box. So, I mean, talk about finding high probability setups and opportunities and then just walking away with your money. Today is the best example you're ever going to see.
Oh, 100%. And this exact situation, I think, is the most perfect setup of the IB by rejection report, where the low is formed first, but before the IB ends, there's a really nice bounce. So it gives you the leeway.
Yes.
Because sometimes it does like one of these, where it's like there's no
right
room
when
to
it's like
breathe.
the next candle.
Yeah, it's like there's no room to breathe, right?
Like, no.
And here's another great example of this. Another maybe the IB by rejection works super well in RTY, but another good example. Wow,
RTY is for those, if you're curious, RTY is the futures for IWM. So your Russell 2000, your small caps, RTY or M2K if you trade minis or micros instead of minis. But if you're on the future side, but if you're looking at like options, it's the same exact thing for IWM. You can look at the same exact reports, same exact stats.
Yeah. And this is like the not ideal setup, where the high forms first, the low forms second, and like immediately right away, like he doesn't give you the
just
you could scalp it, but like just goes straight in, and like once it breaks, like the report's no longer in play. But then you see something like this where the low forms first, the high forms second, there's a pullback. Now you expect a breakout because and you get a good pullback. It's not like right there, because this is
exactly
your target. This IV high is your target. And then even if we just go to like a couple of, this is like an even clean, like I guess like the risk to reward is like way higher on this one, but you get this nice move, a really nice pullback. And then now you get to capture this whole upside move, targeting a break at the IB high. And then what's nice is like you layer in, let's say you get a really clean entry and you're not a scalper, you're willing to hold trades a little bit longer. You get this clean entry. Now your bias is bullish from the IB by rejection. Once your IB by rejection target gets hit, now you get the break of the IB high, which is bullish again, and you have a green opening candle. This is another bullish report. And then like what happens? Like up and to the right. Like this is like the most, like the cleanest possible setup that you can see, honestly.
Yeah, it broke IB high, and even if you trailed out here, it broke and just held on top of IB high. That's a perfect break and retest hold, and you can easily just trail this up and just ride this all day. And that's the easiest way to get in on a trend day.
Yeah. And broke previous day's high. Like this, I don't know. I wish that we can like go back and see the screener on this day. Like literally everything in the what's in play for RTY on this day was like screaming bullish. It must have been, because there was a green opening candle. IB by rejection was bullish. Break to the IB high bullish. Above previous day's high bullish. Like this is, if you're trying to go short on these days, these are the days where you try to like pick tops and you destroy your account.
This is the point that you're making right here has saved me so many times, right? A lot of people like to focus on making money. And I know I made this point before, but I'm going to make it again because it's important. The amount of times that people look and say, okay, where can I find a winning trade? The problem is they can't not find losing trades. And so staying out of losing trades on days like this where like, okay, I don't really want to long into highs, or like on NQ and ES, we're making all-time highs. I don't really want to long into those. I just don't like the risk rewards profile there. But I'm not going to sit there and try to short and pick a top, because one, I mean, you're in price discovery, but two, if I have 4 things telling me that price is doing this, like I can just avoid blowing an account and taking unnecessary losses by looking at it going, okay, I just want to stay away. I mean, I might as well just go outside and go for a walk today, because all I'm going to do is get myself into trouble if I fight this.
Yeah. It's that piece where like you see on like today's like probably not the best example, to be honest, of the screener, but you see the data overall is pointing bullish for most of the major market movers. But even if we just like quickly cycle through some of these, let me just pull this up quick. So, okay, so NQ, SPY, QQ. Okay, so Tesla. I'm just gonna like go through quickly like each of these, because I just want to like see. Okay, so Tesla, kind of bearish right now. I mean, so far, the stats are these setups are just like consolidation. Like these are just all of these are just chopping around in the range.
It's very choppy. So like, here's the way I looked at it. So, and the reason why like I didn't really fight it, and I looked like, okay, it's probably gonna be a range day, is because I saw conflicting stats. I actually looked at the score this morning too, and was like,
Yeah.
okay, I see it was more bullish than I thought. But then I started thinking about it, breaking it down in my head. I was like, okay, wait a second. From what I look at, I'm seeing, okay, first hour's bullish, IB is bullish, but and the gap fill, like it came up and filled or whatever. But the previous day's range. So I looked at like the previous day's range, for example, and I was like, okay, but we broke previous day's low, and I was like, okay, we broke previous day's low. That means we should close below basically the opening price or the gap fill price, because we should close red on the day. But the first hour is telling me we should close above where we opened today. So like, I did this a couple weeks ago, and I drew a box on the stream, and I said, hey, we may like come outside of this on either direction, but we should close with inside this box. And if you like zoom in on today and you look at where we opened and where we filled the gap, that's where, based on probabilities, we should close between, because one report's telling me the gap fill is where we closed yesterday, right? Because we broke the previous day's range, we should be closing red on the day. So we should close below that line that he just drew up there on top. But the first hour of the market was bullish. The first hour of the market tells me, hey, we should have a green close, which that's based on where that candle opened. Where did we open the day? Okay, so we should close literally in this box that he's drawing right here with these two lines. And look where we are. I mean, we've peaked above it a couple times, but we've spent nearly the entire day right inside this box. And that's because I have two data reports telling me two different things. So it's like, okay, I can almost box this in and say, I either want to trade this back to the middle, or I just want to stay away and not think like I'm going to get some trend breakout somewhere.
100%. And you know, what you had said about avoiding losing days, like one thing that I think people really, really struggle with is understanding the market's not going anywhere, right? Like there will be another trade tomorrow and 2 years later and 10 years after that. Like of all of the things that AI can take over, the stock market is not going to be one of them. It is literally the greatest wealth generation machine in the entire history of the world. It is not going anywhere. So you can expect over time that it's still going to be here. So don't torch your money on a day like this where there's conflicting data. Even if you look, to be honest, even if we go back to that daily bias, the bias here is 64%. Like that means that
a little better than
40 something. Yeah, it's like 40 something percent is either neutral or bearish, which is again like not fantastic. So it's take a trade here and there, good setups, high quality stuff, but like don't try to go for a home run every single day. It's just it never results in good trading in general, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it makes perfect sense. And like the setups that we had this morning, which we had very strong, clear, enter here and look for this, right? Like enter here, look for the IB break. There was two different ways, because we looked at ES, we looked at the gap fill, we looked at the IB break. We also looked at RTY for the break to the low, both of those. I mean, so like you look at this right here, as soon as that played out, you take your profit, you can be done for the day right there.
Most people should be done for the day, honestly.
Yes, because after that, like, okay, what high probability setup do I have left? I have mixed data. I don't have data for a trend day like I did yesterday. What should I do? And it's like, okay, I'll just stay away from it. And who knows, maybe tomorrow, maybe next Monday or Tuesday, you get the same setup, you repeat it, you have a high probability of winning. And if you just stick to taking those high probability setups and just practice some discipline and stay away from bad trades, like you'll just watch things start compounding. That compounding effect is amazing.
It's so unreal, honestly. Like it's most people actually don't really have trouble making money in the markets. Like you can find a good green trade, but the problem is like people can't avoid these losing days where like they just don't understand that the data is saying this and they're doing that. And like they cannot wrap their heads around it. And like the number one advice that I would give to like literally anyone is limit the amount of trades that you take. Even if your first 2 or 3 trades are red, then you're done. Like then you're done. That's it. Like you will go to another day. Like I give myself 1 or 2 trades in the morning. If those are red, I'm done. If you look at if I look at my journal, every single time that I have like 5 or more trades, it is always a red day. There's never a time where I have like an abnormal amount of trades with it being like a huge green day. It's never like that. Like every single time I do that, it's always like a huge red day, like an abnormally large, actually red day.
Yeah. If you will pull that score thing back up again, I just want to highlight like one last piece of this. So like this is based upon, so you see that there's like what, 40, was it say 64 there?
64,
because
yeah.
of them. So he has 16 tickers
16,
listed there.
yeah.
And 4 reports. So 16 and 4, 64. I have 12, so mine says 48 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point being is, however you build out your screener, I've done mine with just the top 10 in the NASDAQ and then SPY and QQQ. That's my 12 that I use. Everyone kind of does this differently. I also have a separate one where I just have the 4 futures on there. The 4 major ones, YM for the Dow, ES, NQ, and RTY. And right there. And so I can sit there and put a score on that. You can change, if you have certain reports, you can change it over on the left side. This score is something that me and Andre talked about a while back, and it's so cool to now see it like in action here. And it just gives you a quick visual. Like when you're making quick decisions and trading, you can just jump over here and you can say, okay, without going line by line and all this stuff, I can see, wow, I got more green than red here. What do I need to probably look for? I need to lean a little bit to the bullish side of things. So this is a new feature. If you definitely log in, go to the screener, to spend the time to build out your own type of watch list, and you'll have this wonderful feature on here. And we've got about 10 minutes left here. Andre, I know there's some other stuff, some really exciting things that you probably want to hit on. And I've been seeing a lot of this algo stuff. I've had actually probably 5 or 6 DMs over the last few days where they've been seeing it too. They're asking me like, hey, what's going on with the new algo stuff? There's execution involved now. I would love to spend the rest of this just talking about some of this algo stuff that you've been building out. This is really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so let's talk about it. A few months ago, we released 3 TradingView strategies that are for the gap fill, the IB, and the orb. So in these strategies, you get the entry, the take profit, the stop loss. You get literally everything plotted for you around the foundation of the strategy that we're giving you. So for the gap fill, we have built a strategy around the gap fill that you can actually go and customize. The most important piece about these algos is that they are customizable. We're not selling you some holy grail. Let me just make this bigger. We're not trying to sell you some like holy grail, like, yo, use my bot. Like it's like going to make you like $1 million overnight. Like it's customizable to how you like to trade. And the default settings are actually, let me just pull this up quick. Actually, I'm going to show something. Let me just do this honestly, because it's just going to like drive the point home so much harder right now.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm just going to drive this point like home pretty hard right now, because it's just like, I want people to see this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling up the algos here, and okay. So this is the TradingView backtest year to date. So this is up to the 14th. This is up to today. On NQ, trading only one mini on a $10,000 account, it has returned $19,000 or 190%. The drawdown has been 18 or less than 19%. It has taken 92 trades, 70% win rate, 1.7 profit factor. These are the default settings on the algos. And what that means is, out of the box, if you go to NQ, specifically, what I have here is the max loss is actually 1,000 instead of 100. But if you go to MNQ, this would be the case. But I trade NQ, so I use the NQ backtest. But out of the box, these are the settings that you're working with. And I actually want to highlight something really, really important, specifically for people who trade with prop firms, is if you go to this list of trades here, I want to show you guys the amount of consecutive losers that this has taken in the entire year of 2025 so far. So what I'm going to do is, this is the entire 2025 right here. What I'm going to do is point out the consecutive losers. So I'm going to scroll down. You can see right here, there's 2 consecutive losers. 2 consecutive losers, another 2 consecutive losers, 2, 2, 2, and that's it.
That's crazy. And my brain is already going there where you're going. If I'm sitting here thinking about this from a risk perspective, I can say, okay, I can risk and know that every third trade is going to be green just based on the historic. Like, this is data backed, right? This is complete back testing every
100%.
scenario based on this strategy, the if then. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, if I risked $500 a trade, the max that I'm going to lose, like my drawdown is going to be like $1,000, and then the next day, maybe I get a win. And there was one period in there where even it had like probably 4 out of 7 or so that were red.
Right over here.
Even with that ratio, I mean, that's going to be like a max drawdown of probably like 1,500 maybe if you have a couple, but you can set up your account and you can manage your risk accordingly. But over time, even if you have that for prop firms, if you have that much drawdown room, you're on a 150K account. That's easy to have that much leeway. But then look at the results. If you want to show that again, Andre, that's absolutely incredible.
And this is
the actual results, and then look at this is out of the box. So what he's saying here on the out of the box piece is this is literally without any tinkering. Like, you can go in and correct me if I'm wrong, Andre, but you can go in and say, okay, well, actually, I like this a little bit better. I want this to be a little stricter. And you can actually change a lot of these pieces too.
Yep. So what I hate when other companies do is they say, this is our algo, take it or leave it. We don't do that. Every piece in here, and I'm not going to bring up the settings right now, but every piece in here, whether you want to go long or short on any weekday, you can change. Whether you want to trade a specific orb size, you can change. Whether you want what your profit target is or your stop loss is, you can change it. Now, we give you obviously an amazing foundation, but you can actually go through and change it as much as you want. If you want so right here, we have a 70% win rate. Your risk reward is smaller. What you'll notice here is that your winners are not going to be bigger than your losers, but you win so often it doesn't matter. If you want to flip this and you want a risk reward of 3 or 4, you can do that. You can trade the same strategy, flip the risk reward. The win rate's going to come down. The risk reward's going to be much bigger.
Well, that makes sense, because even if you only win 50% of the trades, but your risk reward's 2 to 1, you're crushing it, right?
Exactly.
A 2 to 1 risk reward at a 50% win rate, that is you're going to be up 100%, right? I mean, that's just basic math.
100%. And so what we want to do is give you guys the foundation to start with, and then curate it. Even if you want to, you obviously don't have to. If you don't want to deal with it, if you're lazy, just do this one. You'll be fine, right? Like this is
now. I was going to ask, could you set up like 3 different versions of this? Like, if I wanted to say, okay, I have a riskier account, and I want this account. I only care about making a couple $100 a day. And I want to set up this as a tight risk reward account. And then this one over here, I want to shoot for that 3 to 1 and try to build up that account. Could you do that?
Yep. You can add multiple. You can add as many as you can add like 3 or so. Let's say you have one that's curated to NQ, one on ES, one on RTY, or you have 2 on NQ. One of them goes for home runs. The other one's batting for singles and doubles. You just you can add them to your trading view. So you have multiple ones. You just change the settings on there. But what I have here is, and by the way, I see a comment, how do I get this algo? It's edgeful.com/algos. So you can just go to edgeful.com.
Go to Edgeful. There's a banner across the top right now that says, come try it out.
So one thing that's I have to mention is that you have to have Edgeful, like a regular plan, which is $49 a month, in order to get access to the algos. You cannot have the algos without Edgeful, because there's a bunch of different things.
You need Edgeful. You gotta have it.
You gotta have it. So if you go and you can watch this video, this is a longer form video. It covers literally like everything you need to know about the algos in general. But if we scroll down, and we're going to be releasing, I know we have 2 more minutes here, but we're going to be releasing one more algo around the engulfing candles. It's going to be the first algo that we have that takes more than 1 trade in a day. The backtest is awesome. So one thing to note is anyone with a prop firm, and this is in the explainer video up here, and it's also in all the explainer videos in Edgeful, start with the orb. Don't worry about the gap fill. Don't worry about the IB yet. Start with the orb, because the win rate is the highest, and it will get your account off the ground right off the bat. That's what you want when you're trading with when you're trying to like pass an eval. You want to get away from that drawdown as quick as possible. So that
you
win
got to
rate
build
is
that.
really,
You got to
really
build that
key.
cushion.
Exactly.
Build that cushion.
So fully automated execution. This is super important, guys.
This is what I'm so excited about right here. We got to spend the last 2 minutes on this.
Yeah. So you plug in your prop firm or your broker. So Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, and the list is right here. Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, Apex, Tradeify, My Funded Futures, Take Profit Trader. Pretty much like anything that uses the Tradeovate integration, you can plug in. Obviously, you guys need to check for their terms of service, whatever all the rules are that they have. Make sure to do it. We're not going to do it for you because they change all the time. We're not going to keep track of who's doing what. But the idea is any prop firm that uses the Tradeovate plugin, you can connect and automate fully the algo. So what that means is you don't have to click enter, exit. You don't have to place a stop loss. You don't have to place a profit target. Everything from A to Z is done for you based on the strategy that you have customized, that you actually you're happy with, that you want to trade. So if it's this, you will plug in your broker, and like what happened today, on one mini, $830 winner. The day before, 400. The day before that, 900, or almost 1,000. So fully automated. And when we say fully automated, it is from the entry to the exit to the stop loss. Literally everything is done for you. You just have to actually.
I can be on the golf course, right? My computer's
100%.
running back here at the office. I can be on the golf course and look down and, hey, I just made $800 while I'm playing golf.
It's 100%. Yeah. And some people do. Some people they have to go to work. They're in meetings. They're with their kids. They're driving. They're whatever it is, right? This is for them too. Like there are people that hesitate on the entries and they are their own worst enemy. This is for you, right? Like if you hesitate on your entry or you move your stops, you screw around too much, this is for you. But also there are people that are great traders that just don't have the time to sit in front of their screens. This is also for you, where you plug in your broker, fully automated execution. You don't have to miss any trades anymore. No more missing the profit targets, no more bigger losers than you expect, because this will automatically stop you out. Honestly, it's like the thing that I've been the most excited about, like across the board, without question, this entire year. The algos was step one. This is step two. Step three is Edgeful AI. Like honestly, I can't even describe the excitement that I have.
I know how excited you are because we talked about this. You know how excited I am too.
Yeah.
When we talked about this, we said, okay, first step is getting the algos in place or whatever, but the holy grail is the execution piece. If I can leave the house and take my son to school and come back and an orb strategy went off, like that to me is just like, wow, like why wouldn't I want to try something like this? And you know, obviously not financial advice, all that good stuff, but
of course,
if this is something that you're interested in, I definitely think go spend the time. There's a lot of videos on this that Andre's done right there on the website. You can check it all out. You're seeing, if you go to your X feed right now, and I mean, I'm seeing this thing everywhere. I'm seeing a lot of people try this. I'm seeing a lot of people love it. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's and the craziest part is like the amount that it like warms my heart. Honestly, there was someone today, like they wrote in our Discord, like first automated trade, like plus $800. They're like, I can't believe it. Like someone else had sent a message, and it was I was in a meeting. I walked out of the meeting, the orb went off, plus like $645. Like I could cry tears of joy. Like I can't even like describe, like, thank you so much. Like that's, to me, that's like that's
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre, you're literally giving people the opportunity to make their weekly paycheck while they're in a 30-minute meeting somewhere, like at their job. That's what's so mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, and like I've said, and this is like the last thing that I'll say, because I know we have to close now. The last thing that I'll say is that the mission of Edgeful is to be the place where traders come to actually make money. And I say that, and I will say it again, and I will never stop saying it, because the things that we're giving you are the things that you actually need. We don't want to give you any fluff. I'm sure there's some fluff in here, but we do our best to give you only the information you need, so you guys can actually start to trade, like the quants, like the institutions, like the PhDs. I used to work at Goldman Sachs. Like I know the deal, right? I used to work at a hedge fund, actually, it was a top 100 performing hedge fund in the world. I also worked at Goldman Sachs. Like I know the deal. I have the experience. Like I've been doing all this like myself for I don't know how many years now. It's It's the only way. You cannot trade with your emotions. Just period. End of story. It's just not. It's never going to work. You can get lucky for a month. You can get lucky for 2, but you're never going to get lucky over the long term. You have to have the data on your side, and like this is the only real solution without becoming a quant yourself to actually get access to this data.
Couldn't agree more. And that is all the time we have for today. Every time I get on here with Andre, we could go literally for hours, but we both have commitments here at the top of the hour. So I'm going to close this out. It is on my YouTube as well as my X stream here. I did drop a link in the comments of both. If you want to go try out Edgeful, I believe the 7-day free trial is still working there if you use my link. So you can go in,
only on your
surf
link.
around a little bit. Only on my link. So make sure you click that link. It's in both chats right now. And yeah, Andre, appreciate you, man. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, everyone, go check out that Edgeful. Check out the algos. Spend the time. You